Resistance is futile, or resistant. There's way too many jokes. Resistance is something that you need to pay attention to for a very different reasons. Some of the things that you need to think about when you're feeling resistance, and let's examine what resistance is before we go into that. What is resistance? Resistance is the feeling that you don't want to do that it's not something that falls within what you want to accomplish. It's something that you don't feel up to, and it's not something that makes you feel good. Ultimately, that's really what resistance comes down to. We're not going to talk about pushing back against the world today. We're going to talk about you pushing back against yourself and how the world pushes towards you and how you react to it. Where I want to start with is one of the cases where resistance is important is when we find something we don't want to do. We start getting that tight belly knot. We start not feeling okay. We start getting anxious, sweaty a little bit. It's just not something that makes us feel good. Why not? Why doesn't it make you feel good? The answer to that will probably open up a whole can of worms that you need to open up and let out. Resistance happens when there's something that we have a feeling that is going to be like a similar experience in the past. It's when we feel like there's something we want to do, but if we do it, something bad's going to happen, and so we don't want to do it. I just went through it in the last video talking about acceptance. I had a lot of resistance. I needed to make new videos for almost 2 weeks, and I couldn't get myself to do it. And I didn't know why, and I just never felt good. And my brain was playing all kinds of games. And like I said, I didn't feel good. I didn't want to do it. I knew that I had to, but there was this huge chore with trying to make it happen. And then I realized that the reason why I was resisting making the videos was because the very first video I needed to make was on acceptance. And I was having a problem with acceptance. And if I made a video on acceptance, then I'd have to face my issues with acceptance because I couldn't talk about it openly and honestly if I'm hiding things, because those don't make for good videos. That doesn't make for a good me, and that's just not how I am. I try to be as honest and open as I can be. And it was the resistance against the making the videos that really tripped me up and showed me what it was I was having a problem with. So once I realized I was having a problem with making a video about acceptance, I needed to take a look at why I was resisting that. Why was I preventing accomplishing something I wanted to do? And so I took a look at it, and I realized it's because I have issues with some stuff I haven't accepted yet. There have been changes in my life. There have been occasions in my life. There have been things in my life I haven't accepted yet. And I needed to take a look at that, and I needed to start those processes. I needed to cut those cords. I needed to realize and accept that there wasn't anything I could do so that I could make a video on acceptance. So I could talk about it firsthand and talk about how hard it is, because there's a lot going on. So that resistance against myself proved to be something that I needed to unlock, because you don't need that kind of baggage dragging behind you. I certainly don't. Another kind of resistance is when you want to do something and it's not yourself that's holding you back. It's things are in your way. There's stumbling blocks. There's all these different steps you got to take. You need to look at what the resistance is being sourced by. Is it just the fact that you're kind of feeling sorry for yourself and you see every new challenge as this great big obstacle instead of just another step in the process? Is it because you're feeling that you're getting this resistance from the universe towards doing something? Generally, that's something that can be possible, but you find out if it exists by testing it a couple of times, honestly. And in an earlier video, I talked about this, about how resistance teaches you sometimes the forward path, the direct path, isn't the right way. Sometimes resistance tells you to try a different way. And it's that accepting that there's not just one way that helps you move through by figuring out ways around, up the hill, across the mountain, all the things that you need to do to get through. But it's looking at that resistance and finding out, is it worth expending the energy to get past that particular resistance? Earlier in my video on acceptance, I talked about this river monster grabbing your boat with tentacles. Well, that causes resistance against you progressing. And it's a choice on your part whether you're going to allow that resistance to withhold your future or not. Resistance tells us a lot, and it's important to watch out for, because those keys are the things that help us find our future paths, the things that we want to do. They're the things that tell us the chains that are holding us back. All because it doesn't want to go. You don't want to go. You can't go. It's all about going. Always onward, always upward. It's resistance against that you need to look at. Why? Who's causing it? Is it me? Why am I causing it? If I'm causing it, that means there's probably something in my past that caused it, or I'm afraid of something. If I'm afraid of something, I need to face that fear so I can keep moving forward. If it's something from my past that's real, I need to process that fear. I need to process that moment, and I need to move through that resistance by accepting that that is the past, that can't happen again. So pay attention to your resistances. Pay attention to the things that get in your way. They're not necessarily things that are meant to stop you. They're things that can be quite often that are there to help you grow, to help you move beyond, to help you become more of who you want to be by facing it and deciding, is it worth it? What's going on with it? What's the source? Why am I feeling this? Learning through and exploring your emotions, which most of us are resistant to anyway. That tells you you need to do it because you resist it because it's uncomfortable. Well, uncomfortable isn't bad. You have to break the shell for the seed to sprout out. There has to be change in a drastic form of one or another for growth to happen. And it's resistance, it's breaking that shell that teaches us about ourselves and helps us break through the next set of shells and get past the next river monster and move past the next resistance so we can find our own. Dad joke, had to. I want to thank you for listening very much. I'm Morgan Hornman. Please like, subscribe, share, comment, do all the clicky things, help spread the channel, and help share my messages if you're enjoying them. May the love of the Lord and the Lady be ever in your hearts. Praise be to Pan, and blessed be. Peace.